COVID-19, the virus that has altered the course of humanity. The most recently discovered coronavirus caused COVID-19, an infectious disease that compromised the functioning of essential organs for sustaining life, mainly the lungs. Both the virus and the disease were unknown before the outbreak began in Wuhan, China, in December of 2019. The invited specialists will give further details on the virus, its symptoms, and the precautions or recommendations that must be followed by society. The chemistry behind medication and possible vaccine on COVID-19. Since the COVID-19 pandemic started, the race of a possible vaccine has begun in many countries, which present the biggest and most influential laboratories in the world. In the meanwhile, some medications for eradicating this virus have started the examination process. Some of them include the remdesivir, tocilizumab, lopinavir, ritonavir, and chloroquine or hydrochloroquine. More information about this topic in development.
Contagions de COVID-19 dans le monde. Les dernières statistiques sur le taux de mortalité globale, les cas confirmés, récupérés et décédés concernant des spécialistes du sujet, qui expliquent que la plupart des données présentées ne disposaient pas de mesures précises, tenant compte de tests limités et du pourcentage de la population asymptomatique. Les numéros seront déplacés et analysés par les correspondants. The record devaluation of oil and appreciation of the dollar. The almost null economic activity has reduced the demand for many products. Oil has not been oblivious to this problem, the price of which has fallen even in the past month to negative levels. In the face of so much uncertainty, the dollar has appreciated significantly against other currencies, as in times of confusion, investors seek refuge in lower risk assets. The correspondent will provide more information on this ongoing economical affair. South Korea, a role model for countries like Spain. Since the first pandemic outbreak, South Korea has been prepared thanks to the experience in the 2003 SARS epidemic. The efficient health system was able to treat all critic patients and determine infected ones with 10-minute tests. On the other hand, Spain has been one of the most devastated countries due to its meager experience and poor efficacy, while developing strategic plans and effective preventive measures for averting the transmission of COVID-19. An insight into the situation of these two countries will be given in some minutes.
The surprising management and development of COVID-19 in Colombia. The last statistics on fatality rate, confirmed cases, recovered, and deceased have been showing the good management and results of the preventive measures taken by the government and the local authorities. Further detail will be given during the development.
Catastrophe économique. Les choix de la Colombie. En raison de la récession économique actuelle qui traverse le pays, nous avons consulté un expert sur l'impact de cette pandémie autour de l'économie et d'autres sujets. Sur la base d'interrogations présentes afin d'avoir une compréhension générale du sujet pour tous les citoyens.
La biodiversité colombienne s'épanouit à nouveau. Dans plusieurs villes et lieux culturels de grande importance, la faune et les fleurs inaperçues depuis des années réapparaissent lentement et se dirigent vers l'avenir. Étant donné l'émission de gaz à effet de serre ont été réduites d'où les mesures nationales de confinement. L'environnement s'est rétabli, contribuant à nouveau à l'air, espace libre, naturel et humain. Plus d'informations sur ces miracles sera expliqué par notre correspondante.
Conseil pour faire face au confinement. Tu auras respecté les mesures pour faire en fonction d'arrêter la préparation du virus. Les couturiers en automat développé de niveau d'art 13 élèves assis pour l'aide de violence à l'égard. Aujourd'hui, la psychologue éviter nous fournir des conseils pour tous les spectateurs approfondir les informer sur site sentimental.
The music industry and show business managed to overcome COVID-19. COVID-19 has hit the musical industry hard. Around the globe, concerts and music festivals have been canceled to stop dissemination, and many companies have had to temporarily lay off staff and reduce budgets. However, their safe initiatives have brought communities together, as well as the drive-in cinema that has thrived in many countries. More details on this interesting topic will be given finalizing the news.
Moi, Laura Sofia Bendaño, vous accompagne tout au long du journal télévisé. Je suis correspondante pour la section d'investigation scientifique et journaliste.
C'est Antonio Spina qui vous parle et je suis la correspondante de la section internationale spécialisée sur l'actualité économique et statistique du journal télévisé.
Je m'appelle Isabelle Martin et je suis correspondante pour la section nationale. Avec Laura Sofia Bendaño, nous sommes les journalistes responsables des interviews avec nos invités.
Bonjour, je suis Marie Hegel, présentée du journal télévisé et correspondante du lens du direct divertissement. Bienvenue au journal télévisé BCN News, oreille, les trevés, ne recette jamais. Aujourd'hui, nous avons une édition spéciale du nouvelle liée à la pandémie du COVID-19 qui a changé l'histoire de l'humanité.
Thank you, Maria, and good afternoon. To start, we will be exploring the available information about COVID-19, helping all spectators to have a profound knowledge about this virus that has altered the course of humanity and that is setting a mark to remember. The coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that cause illnesses to animals and humans. This specific virus is known for causing respiratory infections that can be manageable or could be more severe illnesses in the lungs, such as the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome MERS or severe acute respiratory syndrome SARS. The most recently discovered coronavirus caused COVID-19, an infectious disease. Both the virus and the disease were known before the outbreak began in Wuhan, China in December of 2019. COVID-19 is nowadays a pandemic affecting many countries globally. Its origin is not clear yet, but the phylogenetic studies reviewed suggest that the virus most likely comes from bats, and from there it has been transferred to humans through mutations or recombinations suffered in a host intermediately, perhaps some living animals from the Wuhan market. It was suggested that these animals could be a pangolin without reaching a defined conclusion. The thinner and distant branches of the lungs respiratory tree ends in small air sacs called alveoli. Normally, the oxygen diffuses from the alveoli into tiny capillaries and the carbon dioxide diffuses from the blood vessels into the alveoli and out of the body, occurring in the exchange of gases. As the immune system fights the virus, the health oxygen transfer process gets disrupted because of the alveoli's recent breakdown. In response, frontline white blood cells release inflammatory molecules called chemokines, which call in more immune cells that target and kill virus-infected cells, leaving a blue fluid made of dead cells. This is the elemental pathology of pneumonia. Sometimes people develop a condition called acute respiratory distress syndrome, worsening the oxygen levels in the body and struggle to breathe. After all this, Dr. Olga Lucía Bendaño Ruiz will clarify some more things based on questions formulated to full comprehension of all citizens.
Hola Laura, ¿cómo estás?
How does the virus enter into the human body?
Pues mira, el virus entra cuando hay dos personas en contacto y una de ellas está infectada, entra a través de los fomites o las gotitas pequeñas que botan las personas que están contagiadas al toser, al estornudar o al hablar. Esas gotitas caen o salen disparadas en el aire y pueden quedar en materiales, en zonas donde ha estado la persona en contacto o que la otra persona las inhale al estar cerca de esa persona. Por eso es súper importante el tema de mantener la distancia social por lo menos estar más a distancia de 1 metro o 1,5 metros, y el uso de tapabocas obligatorio. También es muy importante el lavado de las manos, por lo mismo que te digo que las partículas pueden quedar en los materiales, entonces es también importante el lavado constante de manos.
Which are the symptoms present when infected?
Pues mira, son síntomas muy similares a los que tiene cualquier persona con un resfriado común, pero hay otros que ya llaman muchísimo más la atención. Por ejemplo, una fiebre prolongada es uno de los síntomas más importantes. Puede tener dolor de garganta, puede tener congestión nasal, hay un signo que es súper característico de las personas con COVID, es la pérdida del olfato y la pérdida del gusto. Esto, por ejemplo, no lo tiene una gripe normal y es un signo súper característico del coronavirus. También pueden haber síntomas digestivos porque también está comprometiendo el tracto digestivo, entonces puede tener diarrea o puede tener malestar o dolores abdominales, también los puede tener. También puede producir síntomas de conjuntivitis y pueden aparecer también lesiones en la piel, es uno de los síntomas que también se ha descubierto. Más adelante, cuando la enfermedad está más avanzada, pues puede tener otros síntomas mucho más importantes como compromiso vascular y esas cosas, pero los iniciales es como si empezara un resfriado común, pero se va volviendo un poco más complicado.
It is possible for COVID-19 to mutate into a more dangerous virus?
Es muy difícil porque además las mutaciones de los virus, generalmente los virus mutan siempre, están en constantes mutaciones. De hecho, para que un virus pase de un animal a una persona tiene que haber mutado, tiene que haberse transformado. Y los virus están constantemente cambiando. Pero no son mutaciones que se hagan muy rápidas, son mutaciones que se hacen con tiempo. Entonces, es muy improbable que en este momento este virus se convierta en algo más letal o que sea más peligroso. Es muy difícil. Por eso el tema de la vacuna se está desarrollando ahora a esta velocidad para que sea efectivo para las cepas de coronavirus que hay ahora mismo. Porque no hay miedo a que mute o que se convierta en un virus más peligroso. Es muy raro.
Okay. Do you believe there is a solution for the virus, and how long do you think it will take scientists to develop a successful vaccine?
Pues mira, las únicas dos soluciones que hay para este tema es el tratamiento, encontrar un tratamiento efectivo, y la otra definitivamente una vacuna. Y actualmente a nivel mundial son miles de científicos que están trabajando en estas dos líneas. Entonces, yo sí creo que, y a nivel de salud pública, se cree que lo primero que se va a encontrar es un tratamiento eficaz. Ya se están probando antivirales y ya están dando respuesta a algunos antivirales como el remdesivir y otro antiviral que están desarrollando en Rusia. Yo creo que primero se va a encontrar un tratamiento efectivo y más adelante la vacuna aparecerá, porque son muchos laboratorios. Y lo otro que es muy importante es que son muchas potencias mundiales que están desarrollando la vacuna. Y la que la logre desarrollar, pues va a ser como el éxito para ese país y todo esto. Entonces yo creo que todos los países están interesados en que se desarrolle la vacuna, pero no creo que vaya a ser antes de un año. O sea, yo creo que para mitad del próximo año o algo así. Lo otro que hay que tener cuidado con la vacuna es que las vacunas tienen que ser seguras para ser utilizadas en humanos. Y las vacunas tienen que cumplir unas fases de seguridad, o sea, se tiene que hacer primero un proceso de investigación, luego se hacen pruebas en animales, luego en humanos, en grupos pequeños, en grupos de... son unas fases que se cumplen. Entonces, como se están haciendo tan rápidas, luego pues hay que medir su efectividad, que sean buenas realmente, y lo otro, que sean seguras para que los humanos las puedan usar. Entonces, eso es lo que va a pasar. Y el otro tema de las vacunas es que los países como Colombia o países del tercer mundo tengan acceso a esa vacuna. El tiempo que va a tardar, porque seguramente van a ser los países potencias mundiales los que la van a comprar, y países tercermundistas nos vamos a quedar de últimos en la fila para adquirirlos. Entonces, pues, ahí vamos a tener que esperar a ver cuándo llega por acá.
Bueno, doctora, muchísimas gracias. Some medications have started the examination process to prove whether they are useful to fight COVID-19. They are the remdesivir, tocilizumab, lopinavir, ritonavir, chloroquine, and hydrochloroquine, and finally the human blood plasma. Today we will just talk about one of the most important, the remdesivir, an intravenous antiviral drug. It was first developed for obstructing infections related with coronaviruses and even Ebola. Now, the World Health Organization is helping in the investigation of this medication as a solution for eradicating the most recently discovered COVID-19. Through cells or dish labs and also mice that carried the virus, it has been demonstrated that the remdesivir works against SARS-CoV-2. It was explained that the drug targets key vital proteins involved in making new copies of the virus and prevents them from working, thus avoiding dissemination and replication of it inside the human body. Nowadays, it has been used in American, Chinese, and French patients. It appears to be safe. Nevertheless, large trials, experiments, and investigations are still required for ensuring its functioning. The success of remdesivir is promising since it is used for a wide array of RNA viruses that include the SARS and MERS, besides the infection in cultural cells of non-human primate models. This medication is an adenosine analog which incorporates into nascent viral RNA genes and results in the premature decline. Some assays show it reacts at a stage post-virus entry, which is an agreement with its putative antiviral mechanism as a nucleotide analog. The preliminary data displayed that the drug also inhibited virus infection efficiently in a human cell line, which is sensitive to COVID-19. The company that is in charge in it, Gilead Sciences, has launched the last and 3 phases of clinical trials in Asia and the United States. Results have been positive, and patients treated with this drug recover 31% faster than others with the absence of it. Remdesivir is modified within the human body to resemble one of the 4 building blocks of DNA, nucleotides. First, it replicates the virus DNA and RNA to absorb into its genome, thus providing the pathogen for continuing to clone repeatedly. The addition of unwanted and unexpected mutation due to the drug is one of those replicas could destroy the virus. It was also expressed that the side effects of this drug include diarrhea, rash, kidney failure, and finally shock. According to the Food and Drug Administration, remdesivir is given through a vein once a day for up to 10 days, depending on what medical personnel suggests is best for the patient. In the meantime, some of the most influential laboratories around the world have begun the elaboration of a possible vaccine, hoping to find a cure to this unimaginable crisis.
Thank you, Laura. As mentioned previously, we will be discussing the global situation of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected separately most of the countries and citizenship. Nowadays, the statistics are increasing at a higher scale, concerning most specialists on this crucial topic.
Today, May 30th, we count on a brief demographic summary for all viewers. The fatality rate is 6.15%. There are 6,064,403 confirmed cases, 2,685,392 recovered, and 367,476 deceased. These statistics reflect a considerable increment when comparing and contrasting to yesterday's available information. In accordance with recent analysis, most of the data are not accurate measurements, considering the limited testing and the fact that approximately 80% of the people who present the virus are asymptomatic or have mild symptoms without knowing their condition. Besides that, the multiple changes occurring every few minutes also influence the data, meaning time is an important factor. This suggests that the legitimate fatality rate could be lesser than the known one.
Uncertainty causes nervousness in the markets, and in this situation, people seek to invest in the least risky assets, which is the dollar or the investment that can be made in this currency. That is why the dollar in this pandemic has appreciated compared to other currencies in the world.
An example of this situation is the devaluation presented in the first quarter in Colombia, that has been the highest in history, being 24.03%. The American currency in this period gained more than 700 pesos. The economic crisis is related to the one of 2008, but in the middle of all this situation, companies in the pharmaceutical sector are earning money, specifically those who dedicate to the research on a possible vaccine. The ongoing crisis has also caused a decrease in the demand for oil because the industrial and domestic activity have slowed down in many countries. Besides the consumption of less fuel, there is another factor that influences the price of oil: the internal battle between Russia and Saudi Arabia, which are the 2 largest oil producers in the world. They have coordinated the production and sale of barrels to avoid competition, but some of them have broken the agreement. This trade war has also affected the global economy. Recently, the price of a Brent barrel has fallen more than 9%. Levels that had not been seen for 16 years.
Spain has been one of the most devastated countries by the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to its small experience and poor efficacy, it has taken a while developing strategic plans and effective preventive measures for avoiding the spread. With the time, they have learned the importance of it, and nowadays the country has managed to reduce the number of confirmed cases and daily deaths, making its way towards social and economic normality, as long as the situation remains under control. Spain has closed all of its borders except for nationals who need to return to their residence, and other diplomatic exceptions for the next 30 days, thus following an agreement adopted by the European Council on March 17th. Deferrals of tax steps with the administration will be granted to SMEs affected by COVID-19 for 6 months without interests. According to the current president, this will allow injecting 14,000 million euros of liquidity into the economy. Moreover, the government has announced that 1,000 million euros from the contingency fund budgets will be allocated to health interventions that are indicated as urgent by the Ministry of Health. After 48 days of absolute confinement in Spain, which began on March 14th, the deconfinement process began on May 2nd, allowing people to leave their homes specifically for recreational purposes, such as doing some physical activity. It will be carried out in phases every 2 weeks without lifting all restrictions. On the other hand, from the beginning, countries like South Korea have been role models. Since the pandemic first hit, they prepared thanks to their experience with the 2003 SARS epidemic, which was very useful for them to prevent contagions. Their efficient health system was able to treat all critical patients and determine infected easily. As their first step, the government started an aggressive campaign of massive free tests that have made it possible to diagnose the presence of COVID-19 mainly in those who inhabit the most crucial regions. Each day, approximately more than 20,000 tests are analyzed together between public health institutions and 4 private companies associated with the government. All this has been possible thanks to the creation of a public-private network of laboratories deployed nationwide. Called drive-through labs, people can be tested from their cars in 10 minutes without having any contact with medical personnel or others. The results are later sent by text message. Besides, they have universal healthcare, double the number of hospital beds compared to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development norms, and are accustomed to paying half what Americans pay for similar medical procedures. At this historic conjuncture, there has been a consensus to trust in and respect the advice coming from doctors and scientists. Most of the measures taken were of great help to contain the virus, and each day South Korea is one step away from normal life. But is it too early to eradicate most of the measures?
Thank you, Antonia, for talking about the global ongoing situation. We will inform about COVID-19 in Colombia and its capital, Bogota.
Colombia has been one of the South American countries with the best management of the pandemic. Nonetheless, the numbers continue to grow. Today, May 30th, the fatality rate is of 5.687 per 1,000 people. There are 26,688 confirmed cases, 6,913 recovered, and 853 deceased. Meanwhile, in Bogota, there are 7,386 confirmed cases, 1,957 recovered, and 212 deceased.
The statistics show the good management and results of the preventive measures taken by the government and the local authorities.
The measures taken by the government include the opening of a new credit line for the tourism and aviation sector, as well as a package of the other economic measures to mitigate the effect of these 2 sectors. This announced by the Republic President on March 11th. On May 6th, he announced, with the issuance of Decree 637 of 2020, the extension of the economic, sanitary, and health emergency up to June 5 of 2020.
In order to activate the economy, the government has authorized the continuity of the construction and manufacturing sectors.
These industries will be able to continue their operations after complying with the correspondent validation procedure before the authorities. Moreover, the Ministry of Labor indicated that they will not grant authorizations for collective dismissals or suspensions of employment contracts in cases that require their authorization by law. The obligatory confinement will go until May 31st, and the in-class educational activity will be continued after the date of August 31st.
For the full comprehension of all citizens regarding economy and other matters during the pandemic, in Colombia, we have invited Juan Andrés Rincón Galvis, a graduate in economics from Andes University and an expert on the topic.
Hi, today we are with Juan Andrés Rincón. Thank you for being here.
Okay.
Okay, so today we're going to ask you some questions about how the economy is being affected by the pandemic here in Colombia. Approximately how long do you think it would take the Colombian economy to recover from the impact caused by the COVID-19 pandemic?
Supposing that the economic crisis due to the pandemic have a V-shape, as we call it, that is, with a loss in output due to the crisis, and it starts recovering in that same point, should see growth levels such as the ones seen in 2019, hopefully by the end of 2021. We were growing around 3.5, 3.6% were the forecasts, and if the crisis just goes down and then back up, hopefully by the end of 2021, we'll be all right in terms of growth.
How will the devaluation of the peso influence the inflation in Colombia?
Change policy and foreign exchange do not tend to affect directly the inflation. What happens is that we calculate inflation by calculating the percentage change of an index price. It's called the IPC, Índice de Precios del Consumidor, Consumer Price Index, and we use that and we calculate from month to month, year to year of that index in order to calculate inflation. Now, what happens? About 18% of the index is made up of imported products and services, such as Netflix, such as the wine that you buy from Italy and all that. Those goods, the basket, and we calculate that using them. Now, what happens? Devaluation, you need to pay more pesos for each of those items and goods. And so if those items have a great increase, then the calculation of inflation should have as well an increase. Not in the same percentage, as if one increases 1 percentage point in the exchange rate, but it should affect it a bit. The thing is, Banco de la República, central bank, its main objective is to achieve an inflationary target. And if inflation to exchange rate affects heavily the inflation rate, then it should start doing something to control inflation. Exchange policy.
Those are our questions. Thank you very much for answering them, and we hope we can get to meet again.
Very well. Thank you very much for having me again.
You're welcome. Thank you.
The drastic measures to confine citizens, as well as the pause of industry and transportation activities, has brought an almost immediately positive effect on the environment. Habitat and various cities and cultural places in Colombia have been able to breathe clear and fresh air, besides blue skies without pollution. This, together with the reduction of greenhouse emission, has helped nature to claim its space, now human-free. In Bogota, herons and migratory dogs, slightly dazed, walking on dry lands or huddled in the middle of pastures in places where there used to be a wetland. This because their DNA indicates signs of water. For this reason, there have been many reports of animals running over crossing roads, which were once forest ecosystems that for centuries sheltered fauna, but were fragmented by human exploitation. The dolphins have jumped again in the Bay of Cartagena, due to the absence of tourism, with its discharges nor dozens or hundreds of boats removing the sediment. The rest was done by nature. In Neiva, female opossum made appearance with their young on their backs, and even a fox in the green zone of the Santa Barbara neighborhood in Bogota, along with a mountain toucan in La Calera. For experts, regardless of when humanity takes the street again, it would be expected that in its new normality, it will pose a more adequate relationship with nature, less invasive, less predatory, perhaps less deadly, for it to continue making its ways toward the future.
Thank you, Laura. Indeed, it's a miracle. Now we will be getting to know the point of view of the invited psychologist, Ilia Teresa Obando Prada. She will provide useful tips and recommendations for regulating stress and other mental symptoms during confinement, as well as she will deepen within the topic and violence against.
Muy buenas tardes. Muy buenas tardes, Laura. Bueno, el primer tip que les quiero contar es que en casa debemos dividir las labores que se deben desarrollar. La idea es que nos sentemos en familia, dialoguemos qué es lo que hacemos en la casa y generemos por día un responsable para que todos podamos pasar por todas las actividades y así podamos tener nuestra casa siempre bien presentada. Algo importante es generar un espacio para ti. Es un espacio donde vas a estar conectado con algo que te gusta, ya sea una película, un libro, con tu música. Y también cuando estemos sentados en la mesa, dejemos los celulares de lado.
Los celulares opacan muchas veces las interacciones. Entonces la idea es un momento de familia, es un momento de compartir colectivamente. Algo importante es tener un solo momento para ver noticias. No estar pegados todo el tiempo viendo noticias, porque eso nos enferma tanto nuestra mente como nuestra alma. Algo importante es agradecer los espacios que tenemos en casa, bien sea de índole individual o colectivo, pero siempre estar agradeciendo. Algo importante es no darle cabida al miedo. Obviamente el miedo lo da por la incertidumbre que no tenemos una vacuna, pero ese espacio que le estamos dando al miedo nos puede generar que se nos bajen las defensas, que nos enfermemos. La idea es cambiar ese miedo por algo mejor y más bonito. Algo importante es hablar en familia. Eso enriquece mucho y nos ayuda a liberarnos un poco de la carga de pensamiento y de sentimiento que tenemos. Algo importante es el descanso. Hay que descansar. No todo el tiempo es estar trabajando en la casa o en labores académicas o en teletrabajo. Es importante tener actividades de descanso. Y lo más importante es siempre pensar que vamos a salir adelante. Pero esto es un proceso que tenemos que vivir juntos, no cada uno por su lado.
Muchas gracias, doctora.
Quiero contarte, Laura, que ante esta situación nadie estaba preparada. Ninguna de las entidades que manejan los casos de abusos o de violencia contra la mujer estaban preparados para esto. Además, la misma situación de confinamiento en un espacio, compartiendo las 24 horas del día, hay un estrés económico, hay situaciones de manejo de casa, de trabajo, que generan situaciones de agresión contra la mujer. En Colombia existe la línea 155, donde se puede comunicar y allí pues reciben todos los casos de violencia. Esta es una línea especial para la mujer. Anteriormente te estaba contando, Laura, que las mujeres tenían esos espacios de ir a desahogarse con su familia, con sus amistades, o buscar o escapar de esa situación de violencia. En este momento no se puede precisamente por el confinamiento. Entonces, pues, obviamente son temerosas de salir a denunciar este tipo de situaciones. Hace poco, a nivel mundial, hubo una marcha de mujeres precisamente con él. Y estos son mis consejos para toda nuestra teleaudiencia.
Muchas gracias, doctora, por sus importantes consejos.
Thank you for the information, Laura. Now, we'll be talking about how many entertainment companies have closed their doors due to COVID-19 pandemic. But because of it, they have also managed to overcome the situation with small things. While the industry is coming to terms with the challenging times ahead, the world that music is playing is bringing communities together and has never been so powerful. Several initiatives from the global to the very local are using music to bring communities together and improve health and well-being. The World Health Organization, WHO, has teamed up with the Global Citizen to launch Together at Home, a live streaming series curated by Lady Gaga to celebrate frontline health care workers as part of a campaign that has raised tens of millions of dollars to fight COVID-19. The Berlin Club Commission's United We Stream program is bringing together DJs from all over the world to make new music and collaborations available for everyone. In Africa, well-known musicians are singing about precautions such as hand washing to protect against the COVID-19 pandemic. In the United States, music companies The Orchard has launched the Stay at Home Festival on Instagram Live, while Quarantine Fest in Spain brought 30 artists together online. Metal band Code Orange streamed the gig at the empty venue in Pittsburgh to 15,000 people, and Canadian rockers Arklers are giving music lessons via social media. Music is the ultimate unifier. It is our universal language. Recognizing the impact of music now as well as work through this crisis will prepare us to protect, sustain, and celebrate it more in our future. It can help us realize the sustainable development goals and make the world a fairer, more equitable place. Now, it's time to recognize this. Moviegoers in Dubai frustrated by the closure of cinemas during the COVID-19 pandemic that will soon be able to watch films from the comfort of their cars in a drive-in cinema created on the roof of one of the world's largest shopping malls. Tickets cost 180 dirhams, $50 per vehicle, including of popcorn, snacks, and drinks. Porsche driver Xavier Librecht told Reuters during the pre-opening event at the drive-in cinema, I open quotes, "We keep our social distancing, so it's a brilliant idea in my opinion," I close quotes. This new methodology we used back then is now giving result in keeping visitors safe. Entertainment has been working together, and their initiatives have helped regain strength globally during this hard time.
Finally, thank you all for watching this late night news with us, Breslins News Channel.
Don't forget, we have another session tonight at 9:35 p.m. And also remember to follow us on our social media. Instagram at residence.news, Twitter at residencenews, and Facebook residence/news. Thank you.